Hello and welcome back. In the last video, we looked at how to use the poll SCM method to integrate Jenkins with Git. In this video, we will look at another method in which we'll create a webhook in GitHub, which in turn will let Jenkins know whenever there is a check-in in Git. Now, one prerequisite for creating a webhook is that we need to expose a Jenkins URL over a public IP address, meaning that it should be accessible over the internet. Now, right now, we've been using a local host, and that will not work for webhooks. Now, I will be using ngrok for this. ngrok is a free tool that allows us to tunnel from a public URL to our application running locally. It's really easy to install and use, and you can be up and running within 5 minutes. I have already installed ngrok, and we need to set up a tunnel for localhost 8080. So for that, let me just go into the ngrok terminal that I've opened here, and we will have to run the command ngrok http 8080, right, and hit enter. That should start the tunnel for us. There we go. We are online now, and we can access localhost http by accessing this URL right here, right? And you can also get this by accessing localhost 4040. There you go. That is the URL. Just to test this out, let me just quickly copy this and paste it on another URL here. This should take us to the Jenkins dashboard page, which is localhost 8080. There you go. So that's working fine, right? It's able to take us to the Jenkins dashboard page, right? So what we'll do right now is go ahead and create a webhook for the project, right? So we are in our Jenkins Hello World repository that we created. So click on settings here, and then you should see something called webhooks. Click on that. Click on add webhook, and here we need to give the payload URL. Let's paste the URL here. Then post this, we have to type in GitHub -webhook here, just to let Jenkins know that this is a GitHub webhook, right? For the content type, I'm going to be using application.json. Since I've not created any secrets in Jenkins, I'm just going to leave it empty. And then I'm just going to click on add webhook. So that has created the webhook now, right? Now let's go back to our Jenkins dashboard here. Let's reuse the same project from before, Hello World. Let me just configure this project. So if you go down to the build triggers, we had originally used poll SCM. So we'll not use poll SCM here. Instead, we'll use the GitHub hook trigger for Git SCM polling. We had already updated the Git repository in the previous video, so we will not make any changes here. And let's click on save. Okay, perfect. So everything is set up right now. So let's go back into Git and try and make a change that should let Jenkins know that we've made a change and should trigger a build, right? So let's go back to Jenkins here. Let me go back to my code. Click on hello world.java. Let's try and edit it. Here, let me just say trying webhook. Let me just commit these changes to Git. There you go. That is now committed. That should technically trigger a build in Jenkins. Right, there you go. Build number 33 is now being triggered. There you go. Build number 33 has been executed, and it has been executed successfully. Let's go into build number 33 just to verify the output if it's been able to pull out the latest file or not. Here you go. It says started by a GitHub push, right? It's not by a SCM change as in the previous video. It is now by a GitHub push. Let's go to the console output. There you go. It's pulled down the latest code and it's compiled and ran the program. And then there we see trying webhook. And then it finished with a success. Right? So that's how we can set up a webhook in GitHub and trigger build in Jenkins. Now that we've seen both the methods, poll SCM and webhooks, let's also quickly understand which is better and why. The answer is pretty simple really. Polling is less efficient both from a resources and time perspective. Resources are continuously wasted in polling and you have to wait, right, in the order of minutes for your builds to happen instead of them happening instantaneously. Now, poll SCM is a heavy operation and we need to fire it frequently. But the configuration is easier and it is safer than webhooks as Jenkins will be communicating to the code repository, which is Git in our case. Webhooks can give you exact build trigger time without checking for it constantly. But on the other hand, there are security concerns about opening up Jenkins to an outside connection. Also, the configurations of webhooks can be relatively complicated. So when do you use which one? My recommendation is that if you have a build cycle which is very short, say for example, a few minutes, and if you want to trigger a build for each commit, then webhooks is the perfect solution. But if your build cycle is longer, let's say 20 to 30 minutes, and if you don't need a build for each commit, the poll SCM is a good candidate. Okay, that now brings us to the end of this video. We've now learned how to integrate Jenkins with Git, how to get latest from Git, and to trigger builds in Jenkins depending on the check-ins made in Git. Hope you like this video and I will see you in another one very soon. Until then, take care and happy learning.